Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Hope everyone is having an absolutely fantastic day. I know we've had a little bit of a break since the Corvette content. I wanted to make sure that I did stuff with the Raptor to kind of keep that momentum and energy going. But I did put out a little bit of a teaser video doing a cold start in the first freezing day since I took delivery of this 2020 C8 Corvette. And I can't stress enough how absolutely amazing the factory performance exhaust sounds. I think the square tips do definitely look a little bit clunky and they don't look that great. It's probably the best performance exhaust or best exhaust period of any car that I've ever owned, but that doesn't go far knowing that the last couple of cars that I've had have been mostly EcoBoost V6s that don't sound very good to begin with. So huge props to Chevy for having such a cool performance exhaust. So definitely check out that cold start video. But in today's video, I wanted to do a little bit more formal of introducing this Corvette to the channel by going over what the full spec is. But basically a lot of people have been asking if I got the front lift or if I got mag ride, what options did I get? So I thought I'd do a full breakdown of what the spec of this 2028 C8 Corvette is. That's officially the channel car right now since the Raptor is kind of my daily driver given the Kia Niro went away. At the same time, I know a lot of people love to know what the monthly payment on these cars is, so I'm going to go over what I paid for it, what the sticker is, what my monthly payment is, including what I put down on it, as well as share with everybody what my insurance cost is, because I was actually really surprised with what that number is for this car. So right off the bat, this is a 2020 C8 Corvette in torch red. So torch red, for those of you who probably are more familiar with this, is not a premium color option. So you can get this for no additional cost to the base price of the vehicle. As many of you guys have been able to probably tell from so far the videos that I've posted, this is indeed a 2LT, which is a $7,300 option. And honestly, guys, I think if you're ordering a 2020 or a 2021 or even a 2022, depending on when you're watching this video, the 2LT package is an absolute must. And I can't imagine getting this car without the 2LT package. And the reason behind that is, let's say you go ahead and get a base Corvette. That extra $7,300 after a couple years is not going to depreciate the full $7,300. And on the used market, people are looking for the 2LT for what it offers you, and the 2LT package comes with basically Chevrolet's Infotainment 3 system, which includes the premium navigation. You can offset that with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but I think it's really nice to have that stuff built in, just so you don't have to finagle with your phone and pairing it and all that. It's just navigation that's spoken to you directly off the infotainment screen. And then running down the rest of the items, the 2LT package gives you the Bose Performance Series 14 speaker audio system. I can't compare it to the base sound system, but I have to say that this speaker system is absolutely amazing and one of the best that I've heard in any vehicle. 14 speakers distributed in a coupe that only seats 2 people means you're pretty much surrounded by speakers everywhere you look, and the audio is just so good. Additionally, with the 2LT package, you get the cargo nets, the heads-up display, the HD curb view camera, which is actually a really good feature to make sure that you don't damage the front splitter. You get memory for driver and passenger seats as well, which is helpful because that comes with exit mode. So when you open the door or put the vehicle in drive, it's going to move the seat to your last memorized position, as well as roll the seats back basically so you can get out of the vehicle a little bit easier. And I have to say, I love the performance data recorder which comes with the 2LT package. That's basically going to give you the ability to track your C8 and collect all of that data and share some of that video if you really wanted to. But additionally, you can also set it to be a full-time recording camera, which I have done, and I'll go over that in another video. You can basically have a full forward-facing dash camera at all times, just in case, God forbid, something happens, you have it on camera to kind of cover yourself with. And then additionally, with the 2LT package, you get the heated and ventilated seats and the power lumbar. In an area where I am, especially right now in the fall, just before winter, where the temperature is kind of hovering in and around the 50-degree mark. Great day to take the top off right now with no wind. You guys can see the sun is out, but at the same time, the heated seats and the heated steering wheel make a huge difference and make it a lot more comfortable to leave that top off and be able to still drive it and have fun with it, even though it's not the summer months. The 2LT also gives you the advanced theft deterrent, the universal home remote, wireless charging, 9 additional months of Sirius XM satellite radio, and the big plus with the 2LT for me is also power heated outside mirrors. I think that's a huge plus in an area where it's cooler. Not that I'm going to be driving this car in the winter. If anybody is familiar with how to manage the tires on a C8 Corvette, this is a Z51, we'll get into that, but the summer tires definitely, I think, are something new for me, and I don't really know what temperatures to drive in, whatnot, so I'm doing research on my end. But if you're familiar with Corvettes, definitely go ahead and leave something in the comment section below. And since the C8 is a mid-engine, there's a lot of blind spot around the pillars, especially when you're looking over your left and right shoulders. The rear view mirror camera is a huge plus, along with the side traffic and the blind spot monitoring system. I think it just makes it a little bit easier to drive this car. I personally have driven trucks all my life, specifically trucks with back racks or a dump body. So the lack of visibility from the rear view mirror is not a huge thing for me, since it's something I'm accustomed to, but it is nice. Sorry, somebody ended up calling me at like the absolute worst time. So where were we? Yeah, so the rear view mirror camera is an absolute must. I think it really helps somebody that isn't comfortable with driving a mid-engine car get acclimated to it, because there are some new blind spots that you might not be used to. So there is quite a bit there for $7,300 that is provided in the 2LT package that you don't get with the 1LT package, which is why I think it's an absolute must. Additional to that, I'm not a huge fan of the 3LT personally, because I don't think it gives you that much more. It's one of those things where if you want the finer stitching and you want the premium materials on the inside, especially the suede, you can go... Alrighty guys, apologies for the abrupt cut there, but you know, nobody calls me all day. I get out here with the car and the camera and everyone decides they want to talk to me now. So next up for options, I went ahead and added the Z51 Performance Package. In a nutshell, everyone knows what that is. That gives you the performance brakes, specifically in the rear. It's a 2 caliper setup. Additionally, the Z51 package comes with a performance exhaust. I kind of wanted it from the factory. I may still do an aftermarket exhaust. I always thought that I was going to when I took delivery of this car, but honestly, I'm really satisfied with the sound that this exhaust makes. Every shift point has a nice little burble to it. It's not popping like I would like, but it's still got a really nice deep throaty tone to it. So apart from the tips looking a little clunky being square, I think the factory performance exhaust is a really nice add-on.
We're gonna take it for a ride now.
Additionally, the Z51 comes with the performance spoiler. It's not the high wing. One of the reasons I went with the Z51 package is you get the bolt holes drilled right off the assembly line, as opposed to if you go with a non-Z51 and go with the wing afterwards. It's a dealer installed option and they have to drill the holes, or possibly I would have to drill the holes, and neither of those seemed like an idea that I wanted to do, so I went ahead and just got the Z51 package. Next up, an easy way to identify the Z51 is you get a secondary radiator on the passenger side. It's for additional cooling, since this is the performance package. And those are really the two most expensive options. I went with a magnetic ride control, which is actually the biggest reason I went with the Z51 package. In 2020, you can't get the mag ride independent of the Z51 package. You can in 2021, so it's a little bit different. But since I wanted the mag ride for the extra ride quality, I had to get the Z51 package. Additionally, hopping into the inside over here, I went with the Gt2 seats. Long story short, I initially had the Gt1 seats, but after Status Coast 3000, I reached out to the dealership. They reached out to the assembly line, and basically they were able to put in the Gt2 seats, and somebody along the way checked off the two-tone box. And I'm extremely grateful for that, because I do love the two-tone seats. My initial order had Gt1 seats with just the natural dipped interior, but after I saw these vehicles arriving at the dealership, I noticed that the perforation holes made the Gt1, Gt2 seats in natural dipped. It almost always looked like it was dirty from any off angle. So the two-tone, I think, really just gives it a nice bit of natural dipped, but ensures that the centerpiece that takes the most wear is going to be black, and that, I think it just looks really cool. I really love the way the dash came out with this interior. It's not all natural dipped, but the accents are natural dipped and the stitching is natural dipped, and overall I just think this interior looks amazing. And the Gt2 seats also look really good with the little carbon fiber that goes in and around the seats. Of all the carbon fiber that the C8 came with, I think everything you can get aftermarket, but the seats obviously are something that you have to get from the factory. So if I ever decided to add carbon fiber to the interior, the seats are going to be there to match with it. And honestly guys, the Gt2 seats are extremely comfortable. I think they're the right balance. The competition seats, you guys have already seen a lot of videos talking about the pros and cons with it. I just think the Gt2 seats do a wonderful job of balancing out the interior between comfort and performance grip. Next up, you guys can kind of see over here, there's your button stack in the middle. I went with the front lift system. Where I live right now, my driveway has a pretty decent incline going in and out of it, and so the front lift is really just a nice feature. You don't have to memorize locations. It's easy. Once you use it the first time, the dash is going to ask you to simply hit OK to memorize the location, and then about 1/10 to 2/10 of a mile around that point, it'll automatically always raise the front suspension, so you don't have to remember to do it. Next up, I went with the Specter Wheels. That was a $1,495 option. I just really like the contrast color of these wheels. Carbon flash metallic painted mirrors and wing. I thought the whole setup just kind of went really well together. between the reds and the carbon flash and the wheels being like a nice two-tone shade color there, it just all came together really well. I went with the yellow brake calipers, which is a $595 option, and additionally the personalized plaque was a $200 option. And then lastly, guys, I can show you, I went with the engine appearance package. Basically what that gets you, and the top fits so perfectly back here. It's really easy to manage this top, I will say, since I got it ceramic coated. Because the paint is so smooth, it's a little bit harder than I would like to kind of manage it because it slips around, but again, it fits perfectly. It's easy to fit in there, it's very intuitive. But yeah, so the engine appearance package is really the only carbon fiber that I went with. The biggest reason being is that I wanted the light that comes with it. The whole package is a $995 option, and you can get these vents aftermarket now for around $800. So really the extra money went into the lights for me. And it just makes this interior pop, and with the light at night when you unlock it and the light comes on, it just looks really, really cool. So as you guys can see here, all of that added up together came out to a total vehicle price of $80,960. And yes, in fact, I did pay MSRP for this vehicle, so I ended up paying exactly $80,960, which I think is such an amazing bargain for what you're getting with this car. The reason why I think this is such an amazing spec, to be honest with everyone, is colors are subjective, but this gives you the full Corvette experience. Any of the options above this that I don't have, like the hardtop convertible or the competition seats or the 3LT package, I think that's all little things that don't really detract from the Corvette experience. But if you went with a base car, there's always just something that feels like it was left behind, and this car gives you all that really cool interior, the popping exterior, and it really maximizes the fun of this car. It's just amazing what Chevrolet has been able to do for this price point. And so this is the full spec of the car that we are going to be having on the channel for hopefully a couple of years now. I know a lot of YouTubers ended up getting rid of their C8s right now because the prices are still high, but I bought this car to own it. In all fairness, YouTube is my excuse for trying to justify the costs of these cars. And so let's talk about monthly payments. But I did buy this car to own it, to drive it, to enjoy it, and share all of that with everybody on the channel. And so now, guys, comes the most important part. What is my monthly payment? I had a negative equity of about $2,000 rolling in from my previous trade. Because of the demand of this vehicle, if somebody's gonna lowball you at the dealership for your trade, you can't really go anywhere else and try to negotiate with another dealership. So I pretty much bit the bullet on my last car. Small amount retrospect to the whole thing, but basically, despite the negative equity, I did put a little bit of money down. I put $22,000 down, or $23,000 down. So add in the tax and the fees and all that stuff, and my deposit down, I ended up financing about $65,000 for 60 months at 2.5% interest. Right now, that's the best thing. Interest rates are so low now than they were maybe say like a year ago when the interest rate was 1 to 2% higher than what it is. And so with all that said, guys, my monthly payment is $1,150.23. And lastly, guys, what blew me away was absolutely one thing, and that is the insurance cost for this vehicle. I was actually expecting an increase in my insurance. It actually ended up costing me less to insure this car for the full year than the Kia Niro did, by a very small amount, single dollar digits. But still, to think that a $12,000 to $14,000 Kia Niro cost me the same to insure for the year that this car did is absolutely unbelievable. And so my annual insurance payment for this car is $1,122 roughly. And so that comes down to a monthly payment of about $100 and something. I do the full-time payment mainly because I get a 5% discount to pay it off in full. Hopefully you guys found this information informative. If you did, give it a big old thumbs up. If you want to see more Corvette content, you have any questions, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I read all the comments and answer them. And as always, guys, until the next video, I will see you in the comment section below.